Live streaming is on.
Hello, everybody. We are here with God. You got a visit from the Messiah. We are going to become churchgoers all now. Our orders for today are get your ass to Mars. This is our church. With us is the high priest of the church, Mr. Olivier Coipel. How are you, Olivier?
I am the high priest of the church.
Of
I'm
course,
good. How you doing?
of course, or either you're the high priest of Spider-Man, whatever you prefer.
Oh, Spider-Man.
That's good. Just so you guys know, he's changed his T-shirt for you. I tended to,
Yes,
to hate me. I took the T-shirt, I took the comic T-shirt off, and I put this one. But he just became a new man for you.
yeah. You have the T-shirt about advertising about one of the big two.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin. This is in case you guys don't know, Buzz Aldrin, the second guy who go to the moon. As you know, I'm a big geek of those things. See, this is my Apollo 11 model. Not that you care, but Buzz Aldrin has a campaign to get humanity to Mars, and of course, part of that campaign was to do a T-shirt that says "That fine, not gross, or filled with curse words, get your ass to Mars." Anyway, stop it with
But I
that.
have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have? Are we gonna? Do you gonna have to blur the ass word?
I am not going to. If somebody else does it, that's the problem. I don't care. It's funny because on Monday I had Gary Frank, and he was talking and suddenly, a curse. He said a curse word, and he was like, "Oh, can I curse here?" And I was like, "You're in my feed. If you don't curse, this is not natural. We have to curse. It's part of the conversation. This is not a professional talk. It's just us talking. And if we say a curse word, so be it."
Beep it. Beep it.
No, why? Why are we gonna blip it? Anyway, let's stop with that. As you guys said, Olivier is here, an amazing friend, a great guy, as you know, and one of the best artists in this industry. So, my friend, how are you doing?
Yeah. Right now,
In general,
asleep. Asleep. But I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Just a bit tired because with the confinement, the lockdown. I don't know why I sleep badly during this time. I don't know. Every night I have to wake up like several times, so I'm always like asleep. Okay, so okay, just a bit tired. That's it. It's in the afternoon. It's like 5 here, so a bit sleepy.
yeah, no, it's not only you. Paloma has also had some problems with, of course, all the, how can I say it, all the routines change. Because in her case, of course, she's used to go out to work to the office, etc., etc. So being at home all the time changes your rhythms, and it's becoming better now that she can come out, because they started to allow people to go out here in Spain.
Yeah, I heard.
But for a few days, her sleep was really bad. Her body couldn't adjust, and she couldn't almost sleep any night.
Yeah, I totally understand. For us, artists is a bit different because we basically work from home. So the difference is not that there's not that big of a difference, but I would say because of the kids and the school online, forget it. It's like
Yeah.
I get to properly work around 4:35. And before that, good. And even while I'm doing it, they have to come in the office, blah blah. We have to talk, and then you hear them screaming or something. So you never focus. So that's a big. It's a big. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it's the
For
same
the
here. Erin right now she's not home because she's with Paloma, walking the dog. But even when she's told you cannot get in, I'm working, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hear her
Yeah.
screaming, playing, or she's gonna come in, Daddy, I have to show you something, and you're like, I told you I'm working. You cannot do that now. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh,
You know what?
hello, bye, and she just leaves. Or the dog. Yesterday I had a chat with Francis Portela, Raul Fernandez Acuna, and some of the others, and then suddenly my dog, who's a big dog, comes by, just gets in behind my legs, and start like this, just pet me now, and I'm like, wait a minute, who opened the door? So I always ask the same question. If you can't answer, don't answer. What are you working on now?
Covers.
Covers.
Just covers. I'm doing a Thor cover right now. Finished a Spider-Man cover for an anniversary. And I have a Disney thing to do related to Thor, and a few other covers I'm supposed to do.
And what are you doing aside of going to the pool? I hate you. What are you doing to on your spare time these days during the confinement? In terms of what is the last movie you saw?
Spare time? I don't have spare time. Okay, I have an hour in the morning to do the workout, to the gym.
Yeah.
So I have my hour, and then it's school with the kids. So yeah, because I don't know the system. I don't know how is it in Spain, but here, I mean, when it's online, especially because they're on the British school, you have to have a parent next to the screen.
Yeah.
So I have to be there.
Yeah.
Basically, I have to say, "Hey, stop moving. Listen, do this, do
It's
that."
absurd.
And then
It's absurd. It's absurd. You're paying for them to do the job online, and then we are like, you have to be there doing the work for them. And it's like, wait a minute, why am I paying you? Just send me the stuff, and we'll homeschool them.
I don't want them to send me the stuff. I just want them to do it.
Yes.
Because,
No, here we also get, every day, we get like a video from the teacher. She's 6 only, so it's still on P5,
okay.
still in primary, not infant school or whatever it's called there. So she gets a video from the teacher saying this is what you have to do today, and then they send you the files, so you print them, and you are like, wait a minute, you just told her what to do today. You send them a thing to print,
and you have to do
and then I have to do all the work.
Yeah, basically.
So it's pretty absurd.
Exactly. So they spend an hour in the morning, and then you spend 4 hours trying to get the homework done. Like, do it. And then they have another meeting in the afternoon after lunch, another meeting or 2 meetings and the last one is at 4. Is that from 3 to 4, and then it's over.
Yeah. Well, at least over. But you don't have really any time to just watch at night or anything, just like a movie or.
Yeah, usually I used to watch a TV series or TV shows. Right now, all I want, basically what I want to draw.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not talking about work.
Space. This is my space. I want to draw.
Yeah, no, but basically that is true. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, because you have to take care of this, you do this, you're there. But I just want to be for a while on my own, alone with me and thinking, and let the inspiration comes in, or I don't know. I'm not even talking about work. I'm talking about just drawing, just.
Just on your own mind space, I guess.
Yes, yeah. And that's the thing I'm the most struggling with is this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being on my own and be able to draw.
And what is your background music while you work, if you have any? Because there's artists who prefer, complete and absolute silence. I was telling the other day, I don't remember who it was. It was Lee Bermejo, that Paloma's computer is right there. So sometimes we have to work here. Since he's not in the office, we work together, and I always need music or a podcast or radio, to be. I need the cacophony, the sound, and she's the opposite. She needs absolute silence. So to work right now, we've been developing a method, and right now she has the.
What is this?
The AirPods.
Oh.
So she can be working. So sometimes she just gets the AirPods, and sometimes the deal is sometimes she gets the AirPods so I can listen to music, and sometimes I just turn it off so she can have complete silence. So how is it in your case? Do you need the sound of something around you, or
no? I need sound. I mean, no. I mean, it's been a while. I haven't done any pages, but I remember. I know that sometime when I do sequentials art, when I'm thinking about the scene, when I have to think about the scene, when I have to visualize it, I need silence. I need silence to focus on how. Well, it's weird. No. Not always, because sometimes. No, okay. When I'm working on the page, I'm doing the thumbnails and stuff. I'm thinking about the staging and stuff. I need silence.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that sometimes music brings me ideas about how to show the scene, the atmosphere of the scene, or give me ideas about what can I add to the scene to make it more dramatic or stuff like that, you know.
Could it
But
be
most
that?
of the time,
Could it be
what?
when you're designing a page? I mean, designing the layouts, the composition, the storytelling. You
Yeah.
need to focus to put everything right in place, and then when you go to the pencil or ink stage, which is not exactly, but you know what I mean, a bit more mechanical because you're completing.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
that's to make it
Really?
less mechanical and less. Sorry to say this, guys, it's not exactly what I mean, but he's going to understand it's not literal. It's more mechanical. You
Yeah,
need
yeah, yeah,
more
I know what you mean.
inspiration with the music or something to just so it's not that boring and so it's a part that you are like, I cannot think I need that kind of
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whatever. I need the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Because I
yeah.
want an epic, or I want with Lee. We were talking about it wasn't on camera because we didn't realize we weren't on it yet. But we were discussing what's an inspiration all the time when you want to go epic, and it was like Last of the Mohicans.
Oh,
You need that
yeah, yeah.
that music,
No,
and it's
but
like okay.
okay, yeah, yeah, totally. Because I know what when I was working on Thor, I was putting the Lord of the Ring soundtrack all the time to visualize scene and stuff, or even the Star Wars episode. I'm lost because I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so I'm lost. The first one they did with Darth Maul.
The Phantom Menace, the horrible one, yeah.
Yeah, this one. And you have this scene when you see Darth Maul, you see the doors opening, and you see
Yeah,
Darth Maul with his lightsaber, and you have the music.
yeah. That's called the Duel of the Fates or something like that. It's a really it's one of it's one of the most famous Star Wars songs. So yeah.
And that one, listening to that one, I was like, you can visualize what fighting thing you're doing. It's like it helps you, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. So I do that sometimes, yeah.
You don't go with
And
one.
like you say, once you have your staging and your rhythm and your the angles and stuff, then it's not brainless, but it's more something because you got everything right. You locked all the key parts of the page. So then you can less focus. Let's say you can start to draw. You know how to draw, so it's less important. The main thing is to get the right tone of the page of the scene, and then you can I can listen to music and do whatever I want afterwards. You can talk to me while I draw. That's no problem.
I see that. Also, a question: have you ever thought about writing yourself?
Writing?
Yeah.
I thought about it, but I think I can't. I mean, that would be a challenge for me. That would be a main challenge for me because I thought about it, and I talk to a lot of friends of mine, and they all say the same thing: start writing on paper. Start any ideas, just write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down. Whatever you have, write it down, and then little by little, you're gonna see that there's like you can make connections and stuff. But I never did it. Basically, I have ideas, but I never took the time to sit down to take it like, okay, let's sit down and write. Because because I always thought I came to drawing naturally, you know, it came natural. And I never wrote anything. And I'm like, it didn't come naturally. Why? If it didn't come naturally, maybe it's not in me somehow, you know. Maybe it's stupid to think that way. You need to challenge yourself and try.
I don't think it's stupid at
But
all. I don't think it's stupid at all. You know, if you don't feel comfortable or that it comes naturally out of you, you just say whatever. I'll just focus on what I enjoy doing. If you're not going to enjoy it, why do it?
yes, but but you want to pass that at the same time. You want to go, maybe if I challenge myself, maybe it's going to be hard because even when I listen to interviews about writers, or it can be in comics or even in a nothing to do with comics, it can be novel or anything. But the process of writing, everybody has his own process of writing. But sometimes I'm listening to people, and it's like a struggle somehow. I mean, it's painful,
Yeah.
but when you hear it, once it's done, it's so how do you say that?
Fulfilling.
Yeah. It's like a great thing that happened to them. They went through difficult times and doubts and stuff. But I think at the same time, it, it's the same process, creative process, as when you're drawing or writing a movie or something. I don't know. You go through some doubts. So even when you draw, sometimes you're lost in what you're doing. But for example, if I try to do a cover with a medium that I never tried, I'm gonna start, and then I'm gonna be totally lost, and then I'm a bit scared because I'm gonna fuck it up. But beep up. But then I try to find a way, and then I make mistakes, but you move forward, step by step, and you're coming out of it. At the end, you did it. It's not what you had exactly in mind, but you went through it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's kind of the same in the writing process somehow. But I mean, for some people it's easier or more natural. For me, it would be like,
rolling.
so I thought about it, but still not there yet.
And that take me to the other side of the question, which is what kind of a script you prefer to work with. I guess that with guys that you felt being comfortable with, that you've worked sometimes, is different, but you prefer to get something tight or something that lets you go loose and crazy, and then the writer can always adjust it.
I prefer loose. I prefer loose.
Yeah,
I prefer loose because that way you get more involved in the writing somehow,
Yeah.
And more involved in the project, because that's the point of it. It's like getting involved in it, not just being a tool and then do what they ask you to do, but being part of it and put your bit of yourself in there, I think I told already this story, but when I worked with Stanley, and I had this story, Stanley meets Spider-Man. I mean, this is where I noticed, but I loved it because the script that he had was the old-fashioned way, was like
the Marvel
it was supposed to be like 10 pages and only 10 lines. His script was that big.
Yeah.
10 lines saying, and I had to do 10 pages with that. So then you start to think about what can I do with this, how to make it interesting or something. And this is how, and I think that's the transition, that's the in-between, between just drawing and then slowly going to writing as well.
Yeah. It's fun because that means that you get, for some artists that I've talked to, they prefer the tight script, because they just do it. And some artists are like, no, give me a plot, Marvel method plot or something tighter about a plot, because that means I can think about it and create my own storytelling, it gets me a lot more involved than just being a machine. And that's why I hate that, many times they put those volumes, whether Marvel, DC, or others, which is like whatever character by, and it's just the name of the writer.
Yeah.
And it pisses me a lot because it's like, this is fucking comics. Yes, I cursed again. This is fucking comics. Comics are art. It's a visual medium. If you just put the name of the writer, just make it into a fucking novel.
Yeah, true.
And then same with reviews, many times on I cannot stop myself when I see, any website reviewing comics and they just mention the writer and say, oh, the art is good. I just have to go back and it's like, this is comics. Somebody drew it. If you don't mention
it has changed. But it has changed, right? I mean, it went back and forth because in the 90s it was only the artist. And then it went back to the writer. And now I guess it's more in between, no?
I hope so.
I think the writer still has the power, and they do writer retreats and stuff like that. The writer is still the main name, but it's more balanced than before, I think.
But don't you agree that this is my way of thinking? I've written professionally only a couple of things for DC. So I don't even consider myself a writer, just stuff. But don't you think? That's what I think. That artists should be in those retreats. I mean, if you're the regular artist on Thor or Avengers or whatever, shouldn't the artist be there to talk about
Oh,
shows and-
yeah. I think so too. I was to be fair. I was invited to a retreat. Okay, see.
See?
But I was invited. I couldn't go because it's in New York or anything. I didn't have the time at the time. I didn't have time to do it. But yeah, I think they need to be more. But the thing is, but for that, we need the artist to be at the beginning, right before the beginning of the project.
Yes.
The problem is that the artist arrives once the project is set up.
Yeah.
And the fact that artists, I mean, most of the writers, they live. I mean, it's also related to the fact that artists are, especially today, we are pretty far away. We are pretty spread apart, And retreats, you have to be for a few days in New York or whatever places. It's an organization. I don't know, it's a mentality that needs to change or process that needs to change. But I think it's possible to do it because I was invited once to do it. So
look at what we are doing now. What's the problem to do this? If you have a retreat, what's the problem to have it connected? You don't have to be connected to all of it if they're talking about whatever, the new Defenders, and you're doing Thor or whatever, but okay, we're going to talk about this event where your book is going to be involved. Boom, video conference. We are going to talk about what's in the store for your book for the next year. You're the artist.
Exactly. Yeah. So
many things are changing because of the pandemics, and one of the things that should change is, okay, we know we are valuable. Everybody's available for video conference, so that's a way to get all the parts of of the creative team involved.
No, you're. Yes, it is. But at the same time, I think it comes to the nature of the writers. Writers are men of words. So they can talk. They can. The ideas. They organize. The ideas are organized. So when there's a meeting, they can talk. Artists depends on the person, of course, but it's a bit different. It's not like something you can jump on. Oh, okay, you did video because. I heard it's like that too. Someone is sending an idea and then someone is jumping on this idea to bounce. So it goes like this. And for artists, having the brain doesn't work that way. I know that for myself, I would be a bit lost, like it's going too fast.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. How many ideas could you get just out of listening to that live? Even if you participate and say just like 10 words, but you're just listening to the pitching back and forth, and you're going to get like, oh, wait. And you maybe can be scribbling or just, drawing that moment because they're giving you ideas, and that stays with you to be used later, be it on that project or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, you're right. But something that I always remember from the scripts, it's, I don't want to be disrespectful or anything. I don't think they would take it the bad way anyway. But usually, writers shouldn't write the fights. They shouldn't do the choreography of the fights.
Oh, yes.
They should leave it to the artist.
Yes, absolutely. No, I don't think it's controversial. Many of the artists I rep, they just do the choreography, and even before the project starts, they just talk to the editor or the writer. There's writers who don't like it because we're human, and some people like more control, some people like less. Yeah. But they just tell them, I will.
Yeah, but see, more control of what? Because the book is 50-50.
Yeah, and the artist says, "Look, please let me do the choreography. I am not going to tell you how to write. I'm not going to change anything. But in terms of the fight scenes, just let me stage it my way because I'm the artist and I'm the one who's supposed to know how to fucking do it."
Yes, yeah.
So by the end of the day, it's a back and forth, and that goes with what you said, that it's changing again. Because, by the beginning of the 2000s, writers were a lot more in control. But now it's going back, to that side where it's not, I don't know if it's 50-50, but when artists can say, hey, guys, just let me do my part.
Yeah, but listen now. Yeah. It's not 50-50.
And the writers accept it much more. They are more in sync with that.
No, totally. Usually, a writer, if he's a smart writer, he knows that if he wants to do the best out of the artist, he needs to give him a bit of a trust and freedom,
Yeah. Do you know do you know how Alan Moore's scripts used to be, right? Like he could define a door with 10 pages, But what people forget, and Chris Sprouse, Rick Beach, Gene Ha, and others have always told me, okay, you gotta understand two things. First, even after all that crazy, level of detail, and I've seen those scripts, so I know it's true. In the bottom of the page, Alan always wrote, doesn't matter how much I wrote, if you find a way to do it better, ignore my script.
I like that.
But what
Yeah, but you still have to read it. You still go to go all through all these words.
and what Rick and especially Chris and Gene have always told me is he gave us that chance, and when I changed anything, he never complained. But the problem with Alan was his visual imagination was so perfect that you could almost never find a way to make it better than he envisioned.
Oh wow!
So even if he needed to use 4 pages to describe it, the famous thing with the door on Thomas Strong issue 1. You know the story, right? He took 4 pages to describe a panel that was just.
No, what story?
What he took 4 pages of script to describe one panel that was just a door.
Oh my God!
So go back. If you have the Thomas Strong comics, go back and check the first issue, and you're going to see there's a panel that is just a door, and he took 4 pages to describe it. But they explained.
Why?
Chris explained to me that he didn't explain the door. Every time Alan explained something, it was all the background of everything around it. Why the door was there, why it represents to the story, the family, blah blah blah. And they were like, holy shit, that's the door. But he just told me, they like the life story of that door. So that's how it took him so many pages to describe things.
But I like that. Somehow it's more because it makes you. But first, a door is never just a door. I mean, you can draw a door in 1,000 ways, and the fact that it tells you the story of a door helps you visualize the right door for the story, and it makes you get into the atmosphere. I don't know. I like that. I like that taking that. I mean, I hope it's not boring to read.
Yeah.
But it makes you. I mean, it helps you visualize the right door for a story, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. That people, the fact that the artists who work with him along a lot didn't hate it says a lot, because there were a lot of pages to read. I can imagine, Scott Dumbier has been putting, showing that he has some of the scripts because he has the editor and has been showing them on Facebook. And every time you see one of the scripts, it's like this. Every script for 20 pages is this thick. So it's like, yeah, it took me a long time to read them. But, that's what I can't imagine the editor, in this case, Dumbier, going to Alan and say, hey, you gotta change 15 pages. Because he could just, throw some spell at you and kill you or something like that.
Oh my God, no.
So what is as an artist, what are your goals now? I mean, what are in terms of what's the next? I'm not talking about the next book, etc., but the next stage. Where did you find the motivation to do the next book? I mean, interiors, not just the covers.
The motivation. I was looking for the motivation. Hey, I haven't drawn a book for a year and a half because I wanted a break from that because I didn't have the motivation. Yeah. And I'm always like that. After a project, I need a break to refresh. My first love is drawing, not comics. I always said comics, but it's not comics. My first love is drawing for myself. So I need to get back to that. I need to have time for myself to draw for myself, to enjoy the simple fact of drawing, and then the motivation to go back into comics and tell a story is coming back. I need to let it come back, and now it's coming back. I mean, as an artist right now, I would say just getting better in my art, for myself, a selfish self, just for me to be a bit better, to learn, because you keep learning, and into comics, I would say I'd love to get stories. I mean, with the experience, to get more picky about the stories. Once you start, just want to draw you the superheroes you know about, the characters you know about. You don't care, just happy to draw them. But after a while, after many years, you want to draw stories that count, that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get more picky, I guess. Somehow you don't say yes to everything because I got proposed.
I wouldn't say picky. I would say you're going past the phase of I drew what I loved as a kid, the characters, and then
Yeah.
if you've been at the top, in a sense, you can be more selective
Mhm.
in what you do. It's like, okay, I've done all that. Now I can select what I want to do to evolve as an artist, to grow.
Well, it's not even that. It's just not even in a sense of career or being there or something. It's just to keep the interest has shifted.
Oh.
It's not the same anymore. It's not about drawing my favorite, like you were saying, the character where I was reading when I was a kid. It's not enough for me to make me happy.
Yeah.
To make me enjoy the thing. I'm gonna get bored quickly if the script is bad or I'm not interested in the script. I'm gonna be stuck with a book that I need to draw, and I don't want that. People don't realize. I mean, I don't want to sound like we are like fighting every day, but drawing comics in a way is painful. I mean, you have to be in your head. It's like the roller coaster. One day you get the pages right, the next day you get everything wrong. You can't do a page. It's like, and going through this is a lot. And you draw until 5 a.m, or you draw during the weekend. Sometimes you can't do a thing right. So agreed on working on a book is something. It's not easy. I mean, it's not something you do and then you want to, and it's done. No, you agreed on putting yourself into it. I mean, you're putting I won't say you put some blood. There's a blood on the pages, but your brain is like is in there, So it's sometimes painful, So if you want to jump into that again, after a while you want things to be worth it, for a story that talks to you or talks for others. I don't know, but not just only because there was this famous characters there and I was able to draw him. No, but you want something else to that. I guess the age, when you're getting older, you think that way.
Yeah, and also then the other side of the question, which is if there's something specific, what's the thing you hate to draw the most? Like hate, like when you see, like, I gotta draw that, like shit.
I hate crowd scenes.
Well, yeah, well.
Because for writers,
then you have to love working with bandits, with those 40 people.
I work with bandits. Believe me, for writers, a crowd scene take them just one sentence. Oh, in that page, there'd be like a crowd, plenty, like thousands of people, and he's done with that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to see thousands of people, but you just this sentence, you're like. So now you have to do a splash page with thousands of people crowded and stuff, and you spend like a day or 2 days doing this. Like, I hate this. I hate it. I hate it because it's like, okay, one more. Okay, I fill the paper. I fill the space there. Okay, it's done. There. It's like I don't find it fun.
Well, no, it just cannot be fun to have to draw 40 people for like 20 pages. I guess not. But
after a while, you just learn tricks.
Yeah, to cut corners.
Because
of course.
you want to do that. I mean, depends. It depends. Depends on the artist. Some people love drawing tiny characters everywhere. I can't do that. So I need to find my way out of it. But at the same time, I need to make it looks like there's a lot of people, but I don't want to be drawing all these people. So find the trick.
Absolutely. So you're still working on a paper, traditional paper at all, or just all digital?
Paper all the way.
Paper all the way.
Yeah, nice. I love paper. But I love my pencil and my paper.
Have you tried to go digital? You didn't like it at all, or you are staying traditional because just you like the feel?
No, I did try for myself and not for comics. I did try to color on a digital. I do that. it's been a while. I haven't done it. I want to go back to try it again. But again, it's just for me to train, to understand how it works. That's it. But I love too much the paper, the grainy paper. I love it too much.
Okay. So let me see what we have here on the channel. People are making comments and asking. Log Frank Howard says, "Hi Olivier, I met you in Madrid, 2017. You're very nice." He always is very nice. At that occasion, I wanted to tell you, I consider you the artist who generated a trend in the style of drawing comics in the last decade.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
Thank you, mate. Thanks. I appreciate that. No, just, I don't know if it's true, but it's just when you draw, you can't put the best every day on the page, but you try. When you do your things, you want to... you put your best out of it. Sometimes you can't, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but you try to, like I was saying, you put yourself on the pages. So it's good feels good sometimes to hear that kind of comments, because you're on your own, in your room, by yourself. So sometimes you can think like, oh, it doesn't really matter. Why do I spend so much time on this detail? Because at the end, it doesn't really matter. People won't notice. But people noticed. And it does matter. It does matter how you think about the scene, or how you want to show this or that, or so it's good to hear that kind of comments,
Mm-hmm. Daniel Acuña is telling me, please say hello to
hello, Daniel.
From me. Yes, I have to say I hated Bendis with his fucking double page spread full with characters.
Yes, I was thinking of him when I told about stories about the crowd scenes. And just with one sentence, crowd scene. Ah!
So artist Stefano Martino also asked a little question. What is your workout routine during the quarantine? I mean a sports routine.
On est en direct, bébé. Non, Zou. Non, mais je peux pas. Sors. Sorry.
It's fine.
Comment sors? Bah, prends l'iPad, sors. Sors, non, Zou.
I'm used to that. So Stefano Martino, the artist, was asking, how is your workout routine in the quarantine? And he clarifies, just in case, he means a sports quarantine.
My work, like on Monday, 3 times a week, I try to train. But because of the quarantine, even to find a single dumbbell was like, it took 3 weeks to get a single dumbbell. I can't find supplies. I can't find. It's sold out. Everything is sold out. So at the beginning, I was training with a broomstick, and 2 bags of full of bottle of waters for squat or anything. And now, little by little, they're arriving. Dumbbells are arriving and stuff. So I train in the morning from 8 to 9. 3 times a week.
Let's see what else we have. Let me see. Hello, Olivier. Hello, David. Question. Daniel Mainé. I really enjoyed your background work, especially in your work in Thor, but also the city backgrounds in Spider-Verse or Magic Order. Where do you get your inspiration to design them?
Oh. This is my books, and I have a lot of books, photography of streets, or for photographer. I love. There's a lot of photographers that I like Soul. I don't know, Soul Letter. I don't know if it stands, if you pronounce it like that way. So this is street photographers. They give you mood of the streets and the atmosphere of the streets. So. Yeah, inspiration from photographers, mostly books photographers.
Okay. Daniel Acuña again, I love you, Olivier, and also I love your art. Happy to hear that. Pedro de Mercader asked, I think you already answered this, but what do you need to see on a script that make you enjoy the drawing process?
Oh, wow. It's only emotions. Mm-hmm. I think that any story that has, I can feel the emotions, makes me want to draw, because emotions is so difficult to I mean, it's a very delicate thing to try to pass through drawings. So I like it, because then you can sit down and think, okay, how I'm gonna make this work, how I'm gonna make it that way people will feel it. So I like that, because I know that we can say that for fighting scenes, for action scenes, you have to make it work, blah blah. But I think emotion is something more subtle, and it's all about the expressions and the timing and the framing and the that I love. I love working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can have a book, I mean, you were asking about my favorite story. I would love to, or my goal in the future or something. But stories about people, I mean, it can be boring. I'm sure it can be very boring. But about people, about simple life of people, and going through, I don't know, they don't have to be like fighting the Galactus or anything. But
I don't think it's boring. I
Yeah.
honestly, the scenes I like the most in The Preacher, with the Steve and Garth, were not the fight thing. Were the people, I don't think anybody but Steve Dillon could do that. Like, remember that at least 10 pages per issue used to be just people talking in a bar.
Yeah.
And they were never boring.
No.
Yeah. Boring. It just has to find the right way to tell it. And you, my friend, you have more than enough talent to do that and to make it work. So I think it could be amazing. It could be amazing.
I don't know. It's just the pleasure that I have of doing it.
Yeah. So Iban Coello says, "I love you more than Daniel does, Olivier." Okay.
Guys,
They're crazy.
I hope everybody's safe.
So Carmen is there saying, "What can I ask to this man God?" Literally. Let me see. Questions. Patricia says you're very handsome.
Thank you.
Okay, Locke from Howard asks, which character have you felt most comfortable drawing? Like Thor, Spider-Man, which is the character you feel more comfortable drawing?
Spider-Man, I would say.
Okay.
Spider-Man. Yeah, even Thor. Sometimes I have a hard time. I need to work on him. But the Spider-Man it comes naturally, totally naturally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then was Thor, same person asked the same, was Thor's new armor after Civil War your idea?
Was that? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Was Thor's new armor after Civil War your idea?
A new armor for Civil War. He has an armor. I don't know. I forgot. I don't know. New armor.
I guess he means the suit you do the Thor suit in the book you did back then with JMS.
Yeah, but was it after Civil War?
I am not sure. I will Locke from, please clarify. We're fucking lost. So we come back. Toni Fejzula asks, have you ever considered going out of superheroes in a graphic novel?
Of course, yes, many times. Yeah, many times. But again, it's the opportunities, having the right, meeting the right people, the right writers, the right project to do something like that.
But you have done it already. Do you consider, at least I don't, you consider the Magic Order a superhero book?
No, that's true. Magic Order is not a superhero book. Yeah, I did. Yeah, true.
So did you already made that step, And then Alejandro Xermanico, have you ever thought about working on a French album?
On a what?
On a French album.
Yes, again, everything is possible. I received a few scripts. Sometimes I had offers for projects, but again, it's just or a matter of timing, or a matter of being interested in doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Of course, I thought about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to.
Locke from Clarify says the armor on the on the time you work with Straczynski with yeah, that's what I said before. It's he's saying
the design of the costume
while you were doing the book with Straczynski.
Okay. Well, the idea, they came up to me to ask me to do a design for it. So I did it. They asked me to be, but it was when Thor was dead, right? So they asked me if I could redesign the costume, and yeah, so basically they asked me to redesign him. So the idea wasn't mine. The idea of the design is mine, but they asked me to do it, to change the costume.
And did you like to in that same way? Do you like to redesign characters, or you prefer normally to go back to the classic suits you're used to? What do you prefer to do? Just if given the choice, your decision be like, okay, Olivier, you can decide to keep the classic suit or to create a new one for this character.
All classic. Usually the classics are the best ones. I mean, no, go back to the basics. I mean, yeah, the classic one. I mean, for even when I redesign the characters, when they ask me to redesign the characters, I always go back to the basics to see what was the original idea, what was behind, what the artist was thinking when he did this kind of boots. Where did he took that idea from originally? Where did he see that to design it that way? So I always like to go back to the origin of the characters.
Okay.
Design. So no, for me the originals. I mean, I think the classic costumes, they work perfectly. It's just a matter. Just how the artist draw them, but you don't have to add a lot of details or anything to make it look cool. If the original idea, very simple, works, it's gonna work. I mean, it's up to how you draw it.
Okay. So out of that, let's leave comics for a while.
Yeah.
What do you miss the most in the confinement? I'm going to give you some choices. Going to watch a movie to the theater and have some quiet time there. Going to a concert. Going to a bar or restaurant or whatever to just have, a nice meal. Travel.
Oh, okay, yeah, pick one.
Okay, you can pick all of them. No, seriously, choices aside, screw the choices.
No, for now.
What is the thing you miss the most?
No, the main thing right now for now is the restaurants, going out to restaurants or bars. Yeah, that's the thing that I need. I need to get out of his house. Having dinner with the kids every day, lunch, dinner every day with the kids. No, I need to get out to have a bar where we have live music. Having to go to a fancy restaurant and having a laugh and drinking. Yeah, I miss that.
And what's the meal you miss the most?
The meal I miss the most? Oof.
If you have one, because there's people who has them and some don't. It's like, I used to go to this restaurant.
No, never. I've never been like that.
The meal I have that I love. No.
There's this restaurant. It's a sushi restaurant. It's a sushi Brazilian restaurant that I love going because I love the way it's the setting and stuff, but also because the caipirinha is. So I go for sushi to drink caipirinhas.
Well, it's a good excuse as well. It's like, I don't give a shit about the sushi, but
no, it's good. The sushi is good. The fish is good and stuff. The food is good, but the caipirinhas are so nice, and I like that. I miss that.
And if you could get on a plane today, where could you go?
What?
If you could get on a plane today,
to Paris.
Forget the
Paris. To Paris first. To Paris first. Yeah. I want to see my family. I want to see my friends. To Paris first.
Yeah, same thing. I could go to Galicia to see the family first, of course.
Yeah. My mom is over there. I will be there.
You have a million choices, but it always goes back to the family. If you can go, go there.
That is true. Especially during that confinement. I mean, the lockdown. We were like, you do thanks to Zoom or this kind of applications. We all talk to each other. So this is when even my friends, but because I'm not a person that's going to call you every day or even on internet or on the phone, or I don't do that. We're far away.
Yeah.
I'm going to be happy when we see each other again. It's going to be the same, but I'm not going to be keeping contact, But during the lockdown, I had some friends on the phone through WhatsApp and stuff. And it felt good because we were like, because basically because people are stuck at home and there's no rush. I mean, they don't have to go to work, so they're more willing to talk, to spend just talking on the phone and stuff. So I get to reconnect with friends and talk about nice stuff, not like usual when oh, I have to do this quickly and then you have to run to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, so Paris, I would go to Paris and a restaurant. Cinema later. I just bought a video projector. So let me enjoy my video projector first.
In my own space, leave me alone. You suckers with
Yes.
headphones that
Don't end the lockdown. I'm good.
So we talk about travel. We talk. Oh well, the funny thing about this apocalypse. The first one who brought it up was Shaking, and Shaking was telling me, "Man, we're so lucky because we have all these connections that we didn't have a few years ago." But also, this is a boring apocalypse. We expect to have an apocalypse like with zombies or with bombs or with anything, and it's like, yeah, stay home.
yeah.
What do you mean?
It's funny because
What do you miss?
some people, at the beginning on the online, I was saying messages. I'm sure you've seen these messages. People were saying like, "Oh yeah, they ask our grandparents to go fight the evil or something, to go to war, and now they're asking us. They're just asking us basically to save the world. They're just asking us to stay home."
So what are we missing for this to be a real fun apocalypse? How it should be?
Missing to be a real what? Apocalypse?
A fun one. A real fun
one.
movie. Like, we have to go through the apocalypse. What do we? Well, aside of that.
What do we? I don't know. What do we miss?
See? Told you he would show up sooner or later. The dog.
Let's see. Funny because I see him on the small frame, but not on the big screen. There's weird.
He's just around going. He comes out. He comes from the street, and first thing he comes to be pet. No, I was saying.
What do you do? So who's you have to go to take him out, no?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yes. The first during the first weeks, he was just only allowed to get them to poop, pee, and that's it. Like 5-10 minutes, not even 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So for him, it was really bad because he's a hunting dog, short-haired German pointer. So he needs to run, and he needs at least 45 minutes an hour out every time, which is good for me because that's my only exercise. I take him a couple times a day for an hour through the woods. So it's really good. So it was really, really. I kept saying the one who's having the rougher time is not me or even Paloma or the kid, it's the dog. But now he's been able to go out because since they allowed the kids to come out like a couple of weeks ago, we told Erin, when you go out, it's got to be with your mom and dad, of course, mom or dad. It's got to be with the dog. So he has his. And then you're allowed, since last week, we are allowed, adults, we're allowed to go for a 1 hour walk, like a kilometer away, more or less. So when I go out at night, like until 11 p.m., then after that you can't. So at like 10, like at 10 p.m., I take him out again for like an hour. So he's having a better time. But for the first month, it was really difficult for him. It was really, really difficult for him. Because kids, you can.
You know what's funny for me? Because I've been to Spain many times, and it's always not everywhere, but I've been to a few cities. And it was always people are really, outgoing and stuff. So imagining the country like empty, the streets empty and all quiet feels weird. I mean, must be a big. I mean, Lisbon is a small city,
Yeah.
I live in Lisbon. It's a small city.
I love Lisbon. I love Lisbon.
Yeah, but I think the difference is not as big as, for example, Madrid. Madrid being empty must be a huge difference of atmosphere, compared
Absolutely.
to.
I've seen the center of Barcelona also empty, Ramblas and Catalonia and all that is like.
Yeah.
But Madrid, something like Gran Via or or Seoul, or these areas where they have the clock to celebrate New Year's Eve and all that. Seeing it empty is like we were saying, like an apocalypse zombie movie, but we are missing the zombies. There's something missing there to give it some color or some love, whatever. So yeah,
we miss the radioactivity or something like that. Radioactivity, or well, we have the corona already.
well, we have enough with that. I think, yeah. So yeah, Alejandro was asking Xermanico, you're still living in Lisbon? Yes. He says, I cannot think about living there and not being able to go to the streets.
Where?
Lisbon.
To Lisbon. You know what? At the beginning, when they started the confinement here, people lock themselves inside by themselves. They didn't wait for the government to tell them you need to lock down or something like that. Like, for example, in France, where people it took them a hard time to listen and to go back to stay home. In Lisbon, people went very quickly to. Maybe that's why the country is not that affected. I don't know, but and at the beginning, I was like, as a good Frenchman, Parisian, I was like, come on, don't make a big deal of it, blah blah. So I was going out, and I'm telling you, the day I went out, and I walked in the street, and there was no one. There was like something in the air. Suddenly in my mind there was this fear in the air or something like that. It made me feel, oh, I need to get back home. I need to stay home. And the fact I went back home and I stayed home. The fact that it was empty, weird, like Lisbon, weird, empty. I was like, you don't feel comfortable.
No, of course, because you see that you're so used to see a certain environment, and the moment that changes from full to empty, you are like, whoa, this doesn't feel,
No, you feel the danger somehow. You feel there's a danger somewhere. You go back home. Stay home. You too. You lock yourself.
Yeah, that's like the primary animal instinct.
Yeah, totally.
When you feel like we're a part of, whether we like it or not, we are part of a pack. Being wolves, being whatever, humans, we are part of a pack, a society. And if you're around, whether you like it or not, automatically your primal instincts react and say, whoa, there's something wrong here. I shouldn't be.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, I tell you, I was like looking at the sky. I was like, fear in the air. I'm out. Bye. Go back home.
So Daniel Maine and Carmen Carnero. Daniel says, okay, as we all have a fan in ourselves, which is your most special possession, meaning original art, book, comic, or item that you have in your studio?
My most precious possession?
And Carmen says, yes, please have him show book and his favorite things.
What?
That same is the same thing. That is, please show your favorite books and your favorite possessions.
My favorite possession. Oh my God, my favorite possession. Oh, I need to think about this. My favorite possession.
Guys, that's
I like the idea. I like the question. I like the question. It's just very hard for me to say, because I've been traveling a lot, living in different places, and I think I was never carrying anything with me somehow. I'm trying to think about an object that I was carrying with me all the time.
Is there any original art from a fellow artist that you got as a gift or purchase that you say, oh my God, this is one of my prized possessions, or that's not one of the things you like?
I like, because I start to collect art, but it's not. Oh my God, I don't want to miss that question, because I'm sure when it's gonna be over, I'm gonna be like, why I didn't say that? Why? It's obvious, and now I'm stuck. I'm like, oh. No, my no.
Now let's do other question, and then the more you try to think about it, the less it'll come. So let's go to another question, and then it'll come to you. Okay. So let me see. Fran, who were the authors that influenced you the most in your early years as an artist? And where
Oh,
did you see the most of their influence reflected in your work?
the first one, the very first one, was Mobius. Mobius.
Gotta
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, it was the slap in the face. It was the one. I think. I think maybe it doesn't show in the lines or something, but his knowledge of space and emptiness and negative space and stuff. I think somehow. I mean, I like when the frame is breathing, when we breathe, and I'm sure it comes from him, from his art. The fact that you had like pages with a character and you had like the sky, very pure sky with one cloud, something like that, very pure lines. And maybe the love of the line, like softness of the line. Maybe it comes from him. I think that's the one. And of course, Mark Silvestri.
Oh yeah.
Mark Silvestri. But that's second, shortcut. But yeah, when he was doing X-Men and Wolverine, I was like, that's it. I want to do comics. He made me want to do American comics.
Silvestri is still. I think many people doesn't agree with me, but he's still my favorite X-Men artist ever. I love everything he did. That's one of my goals, that I've never been able to achieve, which is getting a piece of artwork from that era, from Wolverine or from the Uncanny X-Men, Fall of the Mutants and all that. That was so.
Back then, you were collecting art already? Back then?
What?
Were you collecting art already back then?
No. I was 15 or something like that. After that, I always try to. I'm not a big collector, but I've always tried to have, stuff from the books that I love as a kid, that I grew up with. So that's part of the thing, Silvestri. I love that X-Men. I love that Wolverine. So I wanted to get one of those, but no, I guess that was sold many years ago, and somebody's keeping them in a vault, so they become more and more expensive, and then go to heritage auctions for like $1 million each or something like that. So I couldn't. But there's other stuff, like Steve Ruth Nexus or Golden's Doctor Strange, or I'm signaling my wall because that's what I have them. Like the John Romita Jr.'s Daredevil, or that kind of thing. That's always been my goal. Having stuff from the stuff, pages from the stuff, well, at least one from the stuff I love as reading as a kid or as a teen. The only artist I collect, I try to get more and more from, is Garcia Lopez. Because we are really close friends, and also because I consider like the master of masters. So I have like 18 or 19 pages of Jose Luis's art, but the rest is just one piece. I have 2 pages of your work, by the way.
Oh yeah, which one?
Have a Thor, and the other one is an Avengers page. But I will show you. I will show you later.
I don't own any page from any artist. I don't think. What I got is mostly covers or illustrations.
Yeah.
Like, but pages, I never purchased any pages from anyone. I don't think so. Mostly, no. The one that I spend the most money on is a French artist called what is this? Oh, nice.
It's reflecting. Let me see. Yeah. That's a gift from Michael Golden.
Nice. When was that? Did you meet him? Oh, cool. That's cool.
And that's a gift from Brian Stillfreeze.
Nice.
I'm not sure, just that I have it here in my table now.
What do you do to get gifts like that?
What?
What do you do to get gifts like that?
Nothing special. That's just gifts from them, for bringing them to conventions. I still have Drunk Olivier's drawing somewhere around. I'm not going to show it. A couple of those really fun drawings that you did many, many years ago. But anyway, let me see the questions.
It's been ages I didn't get drunk. Ages.
Good.
Oh yeah. No,
Good.
not
So it's
good.
time
After the lockdown.
when the confinement
After the
ends,
lockdown.
it's time to get drunk again.
How about Madrid?
Madrid, the show?
Yeah. How are you guys planning? I
This is
mean, maybe. No.
nothing is still official, of course, because something can happen. But it's still on. The plan is for it to be in December. So since the show last year was already in December, this year we are planning to repeat it. So all the shows like Bilbao or Dutch Comic Con or Gothenburg or Stockholm, all the other shows are working on Europe. Of course, they were affected by the pandemic. But Madrid and Barcelona was also affected. It was cancelled. But Madrid, it's still supposed to be on. We still don't know what's going to happen. But since it's December, we are really hopeful that it's going to be well enough to. There's not going to be a vaccine, so there's got to be certain circumstances. Maybe more space, less crowds allowed. But I think Madrid is going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to be positive.
So we can get drunk there. So be ready. So JJ Alonso says, "Hi guys, the Magic Order is one of my main source of references when I'm drawing. I see that Akira box behind you, Olivier. Are you a big manga fan? What is your favorite manga?"
No, I'm not a big manga fan. I can't say I'm a big manga fan. I mean, I used to read Otomo, of course, but the guy that I in the manga field is like what's his name? Urasawa.
Naoki Urasawa, yes.
Is for me it's okay. The god. I mean, I love. I mean, I didn't read the Bad Boy. I forgot what was the last thing.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But Pluto or 20th Century Boys are like so much to learn from him. It's like it's amazing.
Yes.
His storytelling. Oh no, it's when you see his graphic, it's a bit. You think, oh, it's a bit simple, the features of the face and stuff. But everything there, it's not simple at all. It's so elaborated, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Carmen says, "I should leave you alone in case you want to go to bed." So you're not a manga fan, of course. You're an Akira fan. It happens to a lot of people.
No, I mean, I can't say I'm a manga fan because I don't read a lot of mangas, So I can't consider. I mean, I grew up in a generation where I was looking at animes, of course, but I can't say I'm a manga fan because I don't even know what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The last thing I read was not Blame. Was it Blame? Yeah, Blame.
Have you read any Taniguchi?
No.
You know Taniguchi? Like Diary of My Father and all that.
No.
I
always talk about it. Yeah, okay.
I seriously recommend it. CB was talking about it the other day on Twitter too, because he hadn't read it in Cebulski in a long time. I can recommend anything by him because you were talking before about the emotions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What Taniguchi does that I don't. He passed like a couple of years ago, I think. No other creator in comics in the world can do. It's the emotions, the way he does it. As
Diary. Give me references after. I need to check this. I need to check.
Diary of My Father, any of his other books. I'm pretty sure that somebody in the comments will mention their favorites too, and same with Urasawa. I remember reading Diary of My Father, which is the story, simple story as this. It's a guy who lived in a small town. He left to go, to the big city. And he always considered his father was a weak coward, and always despised his father. And he goes back home when his father dies. And then he discovered the real man
Okay. All right, I
and
see.
the story
I see.
behind it, and discovers it's so sad in a way because he's the guy saying the dad I despised. Now that he's dead, and discovering that wasn't the man at all, and I should have admired him. So he said, that Japanese way of looking at emotions, which is really weird because Japanese are exactly the opposite in terms of their emotions, showing their emotions.
Mhm.
So it's a Japanese guy showing you how Japanese emotions work and how they, stay separated from their emotions until it's too late.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay.
and all his books are that way. I cannot go into more details. Sergio Davila is saying, I'm a super fan of Olivier Coipel's work, and I don't know how to ask. They have, they all have, you're their idol, so they don't know what to ask you. They're scared of asking you stuff.
Anything?
Are you reading any comics now?
No.
Like,
No.
no. Then I cannot
No.
ask what is your favorite story now. But what's your favorite, not of your work?
No, the last book I read was a French book. Usually I don't read French comics. The one I read was, I forgot the name of it, but it's story of a guy who his days are disappearing little by little. At the beginning he has blackout, just a few hours, and then it's like blackouts who last one day.
Yeah.
Then he comes back, but then he talks to his friends, and it's not really blackouts. It's while he's in blackout, there's someone else in him. There's another personality in him, and the book is about this personality who takes more and more of his life because the blackouts start to become a week.
Wow.
And then 10 days, and then for 10 days he doesn't see his mom, he doesn't see his friends, and then so the other one is taking his body basically.
Yeah, control.
So that's the last one I read. I loved it. It's very simple.
Do you remember the title?
Somewhere. No, I don't. I'm ashamed. I can't even tell you the name of the yes.
Well, you can post it later on Facebook. Doesn't matter. But going back, and two questions: your favorite personal work that you've done, if you have a favorite, and your favorite comic that you didn't work on.
My favorite. Okay. No, my favorite I would say, but I worked on. I would say the Magic Order, the last one, because this is where I put a bit more of myself in there. Really, I got involved much more than any other books in the character design and in the atmosphere of the book and the scenery. I mean, because I was so eager to get some urban comics, a nice change, having people living in the real city, but I put a lot of work on that. So that's the book I'm more proud of right now. Yeah, I would say.
And of the stuff comics you've read in your life that of course you haven't worked on, that just your favorite.
Oh, one of my favorites, I would say right now, it's Batman Year One. Mazzucchelli.
Yes, absolutely. What are you gonna say? It's like when people talks about, we all say the same ones. Well, there's got to be a reason for that. That we go back to Batman Year One, to Daredevil Born Again, to Watchmen, whatever. There's a reason. They're just that good. Let me see. Daniel Acuna. Daniel Acuna. Daniel Acuna is making a serious question. It's not on character for him, but let's gotta respect it. Says, ask him if the representation of Thor in the movies, if you see yourself reflected in any movies, in any Thor movies, or in the actor they chose for the role.
If I see my work in there?
Yeah, in the movies, if you see they try to follow or reflect your work on the movies.
Yes, I saw it on the first one, and then I think on the next ones they tried to they did some tweaks, little, and they went a bit further from my design. But I see it mostly on the first movie. the design of this costume.
Okay. Anybody else has any?
That's the question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the question.
No, the question was
Yeah,
that, you know, if
yeah.
you see yourself reflected on the
Yeah,
representation
yeah,
of Thor in the
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
and also if you see that how they characterize in a way, you know, the actor to play Thor, you know, the beard, the hair, whatever. If you see that they followed what you did, or they just went their own way.
That's funny because on the third one, a lot of people ask me if the movie guys asked me to cut Thor hair and make him a beard, and not at all. I mean, when I cut his hair, it was because of Jason Aaron unworthy Thor. So he told me that he lost his hammer; it wasn't worthy anymore.
Yeah.
So I thought a bit like Massist. No, not Massist. No. Samson.
Samson, yeah.
Yes, like he's losing his power, so they cut his hair. It was like cutting his hair would make sense, you know, like he's losing all his power and stuff. So I don't know if I got inspired by what I did, or if we had the same idea. I don't know.
But who had it first?
I had it first.
So anyway, I told you this could be an hour. We are about 1 hour and 30 minutes, and I know you have stuff to do. So I'm going to leave you alone. What?
I'm good there. I'm comfortable.
Okay. I just didn't want to keep you. If you want to stay some longer. So let's go to the movies.
Okay.
What is your favorite classic director and your favorite director now?
Milos Forman. No, there's plenty. I can't say Milos Forman. I can't say because there was because when I say that, I think about the experience when I was younger. You know, even what is his name again? Bird. Parker. What is his first name? The director Parker. He did Birdie.
What?
Alan Parker.
Alan Parker, yes.
Alan Parker. Okay. I used to directors nowadays. I mean, so I used to like Alan Parker a lot when I was younger. Today.
What's your favorite Alan Parker movie?
It was Birdie.
Birdie? Yes.
Birdie, because when I was a kid, I watched this. I'm telling you, I mean, I was getting crazy with this movie.
Yeah.
Crazy. And the music from, I think it's Peter Gabriel who did the soundtrack.
Yes, absolutely.
Peter Gabriel didn't help. I was like into this. Yeah, a lot.
And nowadays?
Nowadays, my favorite director.
You're gonna kill me next time you see me.
Like asking me questions, I have no idea.
Okay, so let's change it. Forget about the director. Your favorite movies in the last few years.
My favorite movies of all time for me is Hair.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it's not a recent movie, but it's Hair. The guy, I mean, now that I think about it, but again, I'm not very good, as you noticed. I'm not good at titles, and I'm not good at names. So it makes it very difficult for me to find the name and even the
Let's
name.
describe the movie, and we'll find out together which one it was.
He did Happiness.
What?
Happiness. The movie Happiness.
Okay, I thought you were going to
storytelling. Storytelling. Happiness. What else did he do? I love that director. Somebody can tell you, who can help me.
Mm-hmm.
that's a director that I love. But again, I don't know his name. Or I forgot his name.
I'm finding it now. So, what do you think about the superhero movies? You know, is there any one of them that you like, or
In the superhero movies?
yeah?
Oh, I like the Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. Um,
Happiness, the
uh,
director, by the way, is Todd Solondz.
yes, yeah. I love his movies. And Happiness, it was rough, but I love that movie. But it's a bit old now.
Mhm.
Today, I don't know. Today, I don't know. What did you say about the superhero movies? Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
if the ones if you like them,
Iron Man, Iron
which
Man,
ones?
Iron Man, Black Panther, um, Civil War. I mean, I like the Winter Soldier, but it took me. I saw Civil War. I think last year,
Hmm.
so I was pretty late on
Yeah,
the Marvel movies. And I'm telling you, when I saw Civil War, I was like, they can't do any better. They can't do better than this. I mean, to have all this cast, this emotion, and all these fighting scenes, I was like, I don't know if I can do any better. And I was a bit suspicious when Endgame and all this stuff came out, and people were saying, "Oh, that's amazing," because I was like, they can't do something as better than what they did with Civil War, you know. And I like the Endgame and stuff, but I would say Civil War was for me was had everything in it, everything for a superhero movie, you know.
I don't
Uh,
even think Winter Soldier is a superhero movie. I mean,
what?
yeah, it has superheroes, but I think I was saying that I don't even think that the Civil War is a superhero movie. I'm sorry, Civil War, Winter Soldier. I mean, it has superheroes, but it's just
Yeah,
like a 70s kind of thriller.
yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
Bullet, this all this kind the Friedkin movies in the 70s. You even have Robert Redford there. So it's I was watching Winter Soldier and I was like, that's such an amazing thriller. But then you get Civil War and it's the same guys, and I couldn't stop thinking, how do you do that with that many characters? That means how do you do that? How did they make it work? So in a way, when I saw it on Endgame and Infinity War, I was less surprised. It was like, okay, that's amazing, but they did it first in Civil War, which is okay. Now we know
Yeah.
how to do it because we learned how to do it in Civil War. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And what do you
No,
think of
true.
the DC superhero movies? Like in general or separate? I mean, like, oh,
I watched the of course no, I watched the Wonder Woman. I watched this one. It was okay for me. I like the character, you know. I
mhm.
liked the character, but I think the story was like okay. I would say the Batman. Only the Batman for now. I didn't watch Aquaman. I didn't watch um, even Batman versus Superman. I didn't watch it.
Mhm.
So I would say the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. Dark
Yeah.
Knight is wow. I loved
What
it.
you mean the Nolan one, the
Yeah,
Joker?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? There's another Dark Knight.
Uh all of them, I guess. No, I'm joking aside. No, the Dark Knight one is yeah. There's been so many Batman movies, and it's another one coming. Then sometimes I like just making sure which one because it's just too crazy. So you didn't watch Aquaman, Justice League, or Batman
No,
vs Superman?
no.
Okay, okay. I'm not going to say if
The
you're
kids
missing
will
anything
say,
or
but
not.
sorry, I haven't seen any of them. No. But yeah, to be fair, it took me a while to watch all the Marvel movies too. Because I wasn't really interested in watching. I don't know. I didn't rush to see them.
Yeah. Just so you know, I got CB to start watching the feed, and he's making a question on the channel saying, "Have you guys talked about how all of Olivier's best work has been for Marvel?"
Yeah, because Marvel. I grew up with Marvel. You say hi to CB. I grew up with Marvel. So it's like okay, it's interesting of course to discover, like I was saying, to discover other characters and to jump on a new project and where you have to build everything. But when you go back to the characters you grew up with, it's like going back to. I would sound stupid saying going back home, but it's going back to a known world. But all these guys. You already know them. It's like you're comfortable because you know them. You grew up with them, so you know them.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that growing up you were more a Marvel guy than a DC guy.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I would say I wasn't. I never read any DC book until much later, but I grew up with Marvel, only with Marvel.
Yeah, it was more or less the same for me here because Marvel books were a lot more easy to find in Spain too than DC comics were until much later. When I was
in France, the same. Yeah.
When I was like 14 or 15, that's when Ediciones Cinco here started publishing DC. Well, before that you have to get the Novaro one, like the Mexican editions, etc. But before, and some were really bad editions, but before that you had a lot of Marvel stuff, so it was much easier to find and to get used to. I was reading Conan. I always say the same story. It's funny because my other brothers, I'm the fifth of five, and they love Conan. So I was fed Conan Savage, not Conan the Barbarian, which was color and softer in a way. I was fed Savage Sword of Conan to read when I was 5.
Yeah.
That explains a lot about me, I know. But the thing that I was reading Conan comics when I was 5. So what really got me into comics was John Buscema. John Buscema's Savage Sword of Conan work when I was 5, and that's how it started. So let me see. CB says, I always like looking at the books on artists' shelves.
If I'm looking at the books, where?
In your shelves, behind you. He says he always likes to look at what books the artist has on their shelves. So.
Okay, look, there's plenty of stuff. The Marvel books are over here. And I'm sure he's gonna have stuff he would be interested to look at. But it's just art books for inspiration,
Yeah. So, guys, you wanted to see the books? There they are.
See, you were talking about books about New York that I have, but photograph. Again. Not very, very interesting. I don't know.
CB saying art books. Any influences we might not realize?
From art book?
Yeah.
That we don't realize. I mean, maybe no, because lately. And they have been going back into looking at the classicals. Like I bought some books from Toulouse-Lautrec or Gauguin, or guys like that, or Impressionism. I don't know if it's showing, but again, like I was saying at the beginning, it's mostly because my first love is drawing. It's just about. I don't think it has anything to do. I mean, it might affect my work in the comics, but the first thing is to affect my work as an artist or when I draw.
Yeah. So, are you more of a Monet guy or a Toulouse-Lautrec guy?
Toulouse-Lautrec.
It's fun because it's more fun, more alive, or what?
Yeah. Monet is like funny because the book that's holding the cell phone. And obviously, it's a Monet painting.
Yes. It's not lit, so it's difficult to see, but yeah.
Anyway, no, I'm more like a Toulouse-Lautrec. Monet, okay, it's nice. I like the strokes and the light and stuff, but it's about lake or the light or city or something like that. Lautrec is about people,
Yeah.
About people, getting drunk, having fun, dancing and stuff.
That's nice. And any other influences on your from painters that you can think about? Even the ones that people cannot realize. I got I won't name names, but some artists that I would never expect. They told me, my main influence has always been Picasso. like comic artists,
Oh.
and you don't see that in the work at all. But you see,
Yeah.
you see it in the inspiration. When that artist explain why, because
It
of
makes sense.
it, absolutely makes sense.
Oh, okay.
It absolutely makes sense. I was just like, oh, now I get it, because his explanation was about, look, Picasso was always, always, always working. The famous phrase, I always want inspiration to find me working. You know,
Oh,
uh, it's I don't wait for inspiration to come. I'm going to keep on working until it comes. So he was telling me, I use that as a mantra. I will working and then it will come. And then when the inspiration comes, I am not going to control it. I am not going to try to keep it under
okay.
control.
Okay. I see. I see.
If it goes, I'll just go with it. And then if I have to correct, I will correct. And hopefully I
That's
won't.
hard. That's hard to accomplish. That's very hard to accomplish because you're always asking yourself a lot of questions and letting it go like this. I mean, it's hard. I mean, no. I would say Leyendecker. Leyendecker is a big is someone that it's funny because it's mostly American illustrators, but no, Lautrate, Mucha, I don't know how you say that. But when I was a kid, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I discovered his work. So basically, but funny because I liked better his painting than his lithography or his posters. More his murals. But I loved the Slavic. I don't know how you say that in English. Yeah, as painters, uh, yeah, I would say right now it would be Gauguin. Gauguin that inspires me a lot.
I love
I
it. I
see.
love it because those are Gauguin, Lautrec, and all those. Those are the most, the less, no, the opposite. The less they lose I don't know how to say in English. Correct me if I'm wrong here. The less technique, you know what I mean. They
I know what you mean.
weren't going for the perfect technique. They were
No.
going for that. Whatever the fuck inspires me, I'm just going to do it. Which
Yeah,
goes
true.
back to what I said about Picasso. I saw a documentary like 15 days ago about his first era, that his dad was a classic painter and how he wanted to be a classic painter. But then when he moved to Paris, right before moving to Paris in Barcelona, he was already, moving away. But when he moved and left his life behind, was when he just let loose. Like, I'm in a new life, so I can disconnect. I can disconnect from what they want from me. Siri, whatever reason, it connected. So I can disconnect from what they always wanted from me as a painter. Now I can become my own man, and I just go loose and crazy. What do you think of the classics? Are you a Velázquez guy?
No, the thing is, look. I mean, right now I'm discovering stuff that I feel like I should have discovered as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I never been to art school. I didn't do art class, stuff like that. So I learned how to draw by myself. You never by yourself, but you discover stuff, blah blah. But I wish I had this classic. I wish these guys were in my DNA somehow. Because all I'm discovering now is like there's so much inspiration. When I, for example, Gauguin, I know Gauguin since I was born. I know his name. But when lately I was in the library and I look at the book and I see painting. It's like in your head, like I see the shapes and the colors and the shapes. Like oh my God, there's so much possibilities.
Yeah.
These guys. I mean, I know they're famous. They are famous, and something. What I'm saying is just totally. Everybody knows about this, but the fact that you experience it yourself, suddenly, that's right. I know why these guys are great because in your brain it opens so many windows, so many I don't know, so many possibilities.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but at least it was like this, I don't know, and I wish I had discovered them before.
For me, it happened. I thought I knew Velázquez and Goya because I've studied since I was a kid, etc. Until I got to the Prado Museum and saw it, there in front of me. That's or El Greco, I was like, whoa, that is not the same. It's not with Picasso. You see Guernica, and it's scary. And if you the last time we met, did you get to see it in person, the Guernica?
No.
It's huge. When I mean
the Prado is so big.
It's huge. That's not in. If I'm not wrong, it's not in Prado. Guernica. I've seen Reina Sofia in the second one, but it has 3 ones. Prado is the classical.
Yeah.
Modern art is Reina Sofia, and they have the Thyssen collection. It's the biggest private collection in the world. So it's not just huge; it's fucking scary. It's scary when you see what he was reflecting there. The Nazi airplanes, throwing all the bombs over the people, etc., because that's what the painting was about. Really scary. But then when you're in Prado and you see Goya, like the small drawings he did, to reflect the war, like the black paintings, how the French invaders at that time were killing people on the streets, etc. And then you see all his tapestries, and same with Velázquez. That's the first time I went to Prado or to the Louvre in Paris, or or any of the other galleries. When you're in front of them, you are like, okay, there's no way looking at art, in a book can has the same a canvas, and you are like,
can't. Even in the books, you never get the right colors. You never get the right colors. You don't have that. When you see the paintings in real, like, wow. Now I totally understand what you mean. Book cannot do that.
Yeah, so let's go back to these guys. I don't want them to feel like I'm ignoring them. Iban Coello asks, can you ask him if he has any? I think you already answered this question, but just in case, you feel have any influences from Japanese manga creators? And if the answer is yes, which ones?
I think the one is I think the one that's in my. I mean, I remember learning to draw with him also, but he's not a mangaka. I would say he's not a proper mangaka. He was working in animation. Called Shingo Araki. He was a character designer, no? Because he worked on Senseiya, the most famous things, but he worked on many anime before in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and I think he's the one. When I was training how to draw as a kid, I was copying him a lot. So I think he's still in there in my style somehow. But in a proper mangaka, I don't see. Of course, Otomo inspired me because the storytelling, and Urasawa because these guys are the things, the storytelling. But graphically, I'm not sure. I don't see any. No.
You're sure that there's no Otomo in your work? Because I could say there's something there.
I'm talking about the storytelling, the way he put the storytelling story. Yes, yeah. But graphically, I mean,
in the composition of your pages, I think there's some Otomo there.
Maybe, because because I loved his storytelling and stuff. But I was talking about the
actual
drawing.
After drawing.
Yeah.
That I see. Then Sergio Davila asks, Sergio, what type of French album you like or used to buy? And what is your favorite bande dessinée creator?
When I was a kid,
remember, guys, he said he's not good at remembering names. You are just being mean. You're a bad person.
Who said that?
Sergio Davila. He's the guy who asked. Remember his name. You're gonna pay.
No, I'm not good. I swear, I'm not good at names. Even people, when I meet people, as soon as they tell me their names, the second after, I don't know the name. I don't know. It's like you were talking about movies and stuff. Favorite director, In the Mood for Love.
In the Mood for Love. Oh, that Wong Kar-wai.
Yeah. That's a director that I love because the aesthetic and stuff. It's like,
Have you watched? It's not the same director, of course, so don't kill me, people. Have you watched Parasites?
Not yet. I know I'm gonna love it. I know I'm gonna love it.
I know you are gonna love it. Capital letters. Have you watched Pain and Glory already?
Which one?
Last Almodóvar.
Which one?
Pain and Glory, the last Pedro Almodóvar movie.
No.
But that's because you didn't have the occasion, or you don't like Almodóvar movies.
I like Almodóvar movies. I like them. I like them. I didn't have the occasion.
I think this is his best one in.
Is it?
Since
Love and Glory?
What?
Love and Glory, you said?
No, Pain and Glory.
Pain and Glory.
This is the since you remember Talk to Her.
Yes, yeah.
For me, this is his best since that one.
Okay. Love and Glory. No, Pain and Glory.
It's,
you're gonna have to send me all this reference. The one when CB is the comics you told me CB liked.
Taniguchi.
Yes, and the Hate and Glory. I don't know what to say. Love
Pain and Glory. You sucker. Pain and Glory.
Pain and Glory. See? See, I got no.
Just so you know, we have a private chat here, and I just sent you both things in that chat, so you see the names. But I can send them to you anyway later.
Yeah. Okay.
That Pain and Glory is basically, it's not exactly autobiographic, but it's Antonio Banderas playing in a way Pedro Almodóvar.
Okay.
Okay. So you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. So with a French album you used to buy, and what's your favorite?
I used to buy.
You say Incal and Mobius or Asterix and Uderzo, and we're fine.
I would say something like that. It's no good.
Oh, okay. Soft spot.
It's no good.
I love It's No Good.
Oh my god, so funny.
I want to be Khalifa instead of the Khalifa, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's one of. I could say that mostly everything Goscinny did.
Yes, true.
Like, because you talk to me about Lucky Luke before Goscinny, and I'm like, the Morris Lucky Luke, sorry, and the Lucky Luke after, man. Then Asterix, I love Uderzo, but Asterix after Goscinny passed,
it's not the same. No.
And the same with It's No Good, etc. I love. Believe me, that was amazing. And your favorite be the artist could be Mobius, I guess.
My favorite what?
Band dessinée artist, like French album artist. It would be Mobius.
Mobius. I mean, they have to be French. No, because I love Sergio Topi. I love Battaglia. I love Sergio Breccia.
No, yeah.
But Mobius, I would say Mobius. I would say Mobius is the one.
Yeah. He says JG Alonso. Oh, that's a good question, and I would love to see that too. Will we see any painting on a canvas by Mr. Coipel?
Maybe one day. Yeah, maybe one day.
And he asks a more difficult question to answer even. Could you, if you painted on a canvas, would you be using oils, or what technique do you think you could use?
If I was painting on the canvas,
what?
No. I think we'll see. I'm not planning anything. I'm just enjoying stuff, and maybe oil. But I think I will go to Canva. But the first one won't be straight away with oil. It would be like gouache. I mean, I don't know, because I see paintings and stuff. I'm like, because I'm doing watercolor, but I feel like the more I'm using it, I'm learning, But the more I'm using it, I feel like I use it as if it was gouache, or So maybe I go toward this more and more. I don't know. Let's see.
We'll see. I would fucking love to see you do a painting just because, no reason behind it, just
No, yeah. Yeah,
Whatever. What do you have to lose?
exactly.
So it's 1 hour. Oh, wow, shit! It's almost 2 hours. Um, before I let you go, um, what is the writer you have never worked with that you would love to work with?
But you told me his name. No,
No, yeah,
no, okay.
no. Alan doesn't count because he's retired. So,
Okay.
so
Garfield is.
everybody in the right mind, I think, would love to work with either Alan Moore or Frank Miller.
Of course, yeah. No, yeah, but Garfield is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Although I'm not very comfortable with graphic violence, but I think I got a good training with Mark Miller, so now I think I know how to.
You got your training wheels with Mark, and
Yes, I know how to handle it. Yeah. I would say, I would say him. But I have a few writers I would love to work with, But I worked with once, but because the thing is with comics, like sometimes you work with writers that you feel like the way they think, you kind of connect to that. But the problem is that you don't connect with them.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the way I am. I mean, I don't connect with people easily, especially when they live far away. We all live far away. It's not when you see someone at the Comic Con that you connect with him, But there's a few writers that I worked with, but I feel it would be worth uh, working more tightly with them,
Mhm.
to do something more, not doing like something project like a summer project, like blah blah blah, but doing something more we thought about or something like that.
Yeah, more organic.
And I
More
think,
organic.
in a way, I think it's a waste jumping from a writer to another writer and feeling like you didn't do something properly with them,
Yeah.
But it was you were just together on the project and then it's over somehow.
And why? Maybe the next step then for you,
What?
your career. Maybe the next step for you and your career as an inspiration could be to think the way. And we are going back to Garth. I'm not saying it's going to be with Garth or anything like that. Although I probably have Garth here around soon, I hope. And maybe I will tell him, just so you know, Olivier said he wants to work with you. But maybe the next step for you as an inspiration could be that, to just work on your own stuff on a project that allows you to work with that writer for a long run. So you can create an organic process that lets you, develop a real symbiotic relationship with that writer for a long time.
Yeah, but how do you create a symbiotic relationship when you don't see each other or you see just the 2 days during in a year for a show?
We're here.
I mean, I don't know how the others are working. I see relationship between. I see when I go to convention or I see online. I see, but people are connecting. As people are getting friends with this writer, or this writer is getting friends with this artist. And frankly, I don't know how they do that. I don't know how
Because
they do it because
in America, in terms of the American creators, it makes sense because they are used to, as I always say, United States is not a country, it's a continent, and they are so used to work at everything is distance. Almost, you talk to everybody at Marvel, and how many percentage is the people who really is from New York working at Marvel? It's people who come from out of New York, or used to study in college or whatever. We, at least in Spain, you're used to go to the college, in the town you live or close to it. Be it in Paris, be it in Barcelona, be it in La Coruña in my case. So for us, it's different. But for them, they're so used to distances that for them, working this way is natural. Because that's how they live. That's how I was talking to Ruben Pellejero, the amazing European comic artist, the other day. And I was saying, I am not justifying the way the people in Deep America is, but I was there, in one of my trips. And I saw how far everything is. They don't see people. They see cows. I am not going to go into what they do with the cows, but They see, just the cattle, the animals, and the closest thing is maybe another farm or ranch that is like 15 kilometers away. So of course they don't trust people because they are not used to people.
Oh.
So I am never going to justify how crazy right wings, the weapon stuff, etc. But I was telling to Ruben is that sometimes you have to try to understand why they are the way they are, even if you don't agree with them. And I don't agree with them at all. I'm more left wing and red, and not that Lenin, but let me see if I can. Fucking light. Let me take the light away.
Yeah, yes,
You see what it is.
I see.
It's fucking Karl Marx. So I.
So you have Karl Marx, head in your office?
The funny thing is that it's a Karl Marx money.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So the thing is that I am, rather than whatever you're gonna think, not communist, but socialist for sure. But at the same time, you try to put yourself in their skin, and you see how they do things the way they do it, and it's such a big distance. So talking about this thing is the same way. They're so used to work with everybody in anything, so such a big distance that for them is natural. For us, we live in much smaller spaces. We have to live much closer. But at the same time, for example, for Garth started doing preacher again. I'm not talking. I know I'm repeating Garth's name a lot, but normally in these chats we repeat John Ford's name a lot more, and I'm not doing it. So you gotta be good with that, guys. He started doing preacher when we was still in Northern Ireland, and Steve was still in the UK, etc. But then he moved to the US, and they kept doing it, and they were long distance. But for them, it was the same thing because they were so close.
Okay.
Things were still natural. But right now, in this day and age, maybe you won't see the writer in person, but man, you can just be working and talking like this all the time. I mean, you can be on. Before it was more difficult because you are on the phone, you don't see face. But now you can be literally. He can be writing, and you can be drawing, and you can be seeing each other's face and talking about the nuances. And hey,
that is true. That is true.
What do you think we should do in this chapter? And just discuss. Just discuss what you want to do for the next one or for the next.
What I was saying is like before this relationship, before this. How do you do if you don't see the people, you don't have time to hang out with them, or you hang out once a year, or So how do you? Because to build a relationship through a screen, I don't know if it works,
Because that's how they do. That's how they think. It's just like it's what we got. What we don't have here is that, for good or for bad, for better or for worse, we don't have that factory mentality, if you know what I mean.
That's funny. No, that's funny what you're saying about this. When I started doing American comics, it's funny how the brain, how you see the cultural differences. It's when I was talking to artists, I discovered that because sometimes I was like, oh my God, I don't have the inspiration. I don't feel it. I mean, I can't do this page because that doesn't work, or I don't feel it. And I was talking to some American artists, and they were telling me that. I was asking, how do you do sometimes when it doesn't work? I was telling me, well, you just do it. It's your job, so you're doing it. I was like, and funny because it was another way of seeing the work like as a job. Like at the end of the day, your cover, your page is gonna be done. But when I started doing it, I couldn't understand this because for me, I had to feel it, or I had to. I'm still that way in a way, but now I have Plan B. I have a Plan B in my head. If it doesn't work, I mean, I can find another idea, simpler, but I can manage to do it. But this mentality of factory, like I was saying, like producing also, is a very American way of. And even in art, it's like that. Guys are like, I have my pages to do. At the end of the day, it's gonna be done. Yeah. Whatever for me, it took me a while to understand or to make that work, because at the beginning I was like, I can't. I mean, I'm like, oh, I don't feel it. I'm like, no inspiration, or blah, blah.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can say bullshit at the same time, but
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. But as I said, you were talking about the synergy, the relationship with a writer. I'm not saying that's what you have to do, of course not. But it just clicked like, okay, that in this day and age, as we said, same thing with the apocalypse. We are fine now in a way because we have Netflix, we have Amazon, we have video conference. If this had happened 20, 30 years ago, we could be seriously fucked because we'd be isolated except for the phone. But that's it. But now we have all that around us.
yeah.
But it allows us to create a relationship in a way. I remember funny story. JG, of course, JG Jones, told me a funny story that when we were creating Final Crisis,
Mm-hmm.
Garth. Wow. See, we talked so much about Garth, and I'm blanking. Grant wanted him to create the project together in a way. Although all these ideas were Grant's and they came from DC continuity, blah 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 blah. And then Garth told him, "You gotta come to my castle because he has a castle in."
Yeah, obviously. I was like, okay.
And so JG spent some time on working there in person to craft the whole story. So that was maybe the chance back then, to get together between a overseas relationship between an European. I can say European because the Scottish want to be European and not Brexiters. So Europeans, and I'm pretty sure. Well, I know Mark Millar could say the same thing, and Beans quietly the same thing. All of them want to stay European, but maybe that was the way back then. But now you have that chance to just establish that relationship and be back and forth, seeing each other's face at all times. So maybe that's the next step.
True. Yeah.
So Locke Frank Howard says, are you currently a freelance?
Are you what?
Are you currently a free? I mean, I think he asked if you are on the exclusivity now or you are just a freelance.
Yeah, freelance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. CB left because he had to run to a meeting. He just told us. Not that CB likes that he is a freelance, because CB would like to have him under exclusivity for like forever. But not right now. Not right now. He's not.
He's gone?
Do you remember that night many years ago with we went to his house to have dinner, and we just had pizza because that's what he had.
I remember, yeah.
That was like probably the first, second, or third New York Comic Con, like half a life ago, friend.
I wasn't prepared for that. Hanging out with TV is like, I remember now. The last time I think we're all getting a bit old, so we're a bit more, we behave, But before, we had the Comic Con right in the Comic Con, so you had to be at the Comic Con at 9 the next day in New York Con. We were out at 5, 6, 7 in the morning, bars, drinking, having shots, and CB, he wasn't sick the next day. I don't know, CB can drink. No, he's like, but me, the next day, I can't drink, I'm like drunk easily. Oh my God, it was nightmares. It was a nightmare.
I remember that night, Paloma and myself got to his house, to his apartment. You were there already. And we just looked at, hey, come to our house. We have dinner, Olivier's here. Okay, let's go. Go there, and we saw the pizzas on the table. And it was like, looking at your face was like, no, that's one. No, I didn't expect this. It's CB. I expected something else. And we're like, that's New York. Fuck it, let's do it. But it was like so weird being CB. I'm a foodie too, and I do the same thing. There's places every time, and I was like, is he sick or something? Because this is not normal. But anyway, it's been more than 2 hours. Okay. Yes, Lockfram, I'm going to ask this question because then, if not, you're going to chase me like forever, like a ghost. How was your experience with Mark Millar? Did he make it easy for you to plan pages?
To what? To
plan pages.
Plan pages? No. I mean, it didn't make any. I mean, with Mark is great because he's always positive, always enthusiastic, and he always gives you energy. You know. And with him was very easy to work with. I mean, super easy to work with. You know, I mean, I had all the freedom that I wanted, and he was always reacting positively to what I was doing on the book. So no, it was great. It was a great experience.
One question: is the Magic Order, is that creator owned or is owned by Netflix?
No, because he sold the thing to Netflix right before.
Okay, so it's Netflix. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, then you have to do a creator owned.
Yeah.
And
I still have to do my
sell it for $1 million.
Yes.
Let me get on the phone. Anyway, my friend, I didn't want to get anybody without answering their questions. It's been amazing. I miss you. I miss you a lot.
Well, we go out there. Hey, when this thing is over, we're gonna have drinks again, restaurants again, going out again.
Believe me,
Sure.
I will go there. Lisbon is one of. I'm from Galicia, as you know. So I used when I live in La Coruña, I used to go down to Portugal all the time. I love Porto and I love Lisbon. And one of the best trips we ever had, Paloma and myself. You weren't living in Lisbon yet. You were still in Brazil. No, it was not. We were like, nah, let's go. Let's just not Olivier. Fuck it. No, you weren't living there. Just to be clear. So one of the best trips we ever had was in Lisbon, and the first, of course, Erin was still really young to do a lot of traveling, but now 6'6" already. So we're going back to the traveling thing. So
nice.
One way or the other, be it you coming over here, Barcelona, Madrid, etc. Whatever.
I will, for sure, I will.
Or us going to see you guys there. It'll happen soon.
Come. I told CB to come many times. I called him to come. I don't think he wants to come here.
To Lisbon.
I know. And I asked to come. But he's busy.
But we'll make it happen.
But come, guys.
CB, we have
You're
to.
very welcome.
Because the last CB was going to. Guys, this is not official. You don't know. Don't tell anybody. CB was going to come to the Heroes Bilbao, to the con in Bilbao. But the con was cancelled because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was in June. But the trip we have planned was he was going to come before and go to San Sebastian, foodie place,
nice.
Or foodie place in Spain. Nice. Then stay in Bilbao and then come with me to Galicia to just have amazing selfies, etc. So that show he'll probably come back next year. So we can make it a 3-way where it's like first Bilbao, then Galicia, and then we go down to Portugal. How does that sound as a plan?
Perfect for me.
He's not watching now, so Okay, look at this one. Erin, cariño. Ven, cariño. My wife is telling me, she lost Erin lost a tooth.
Oh.
Hola, cariño. A ver, ¿se te ha caído? Sí. ¡Hala! Mira, es mi amigo Olivier. A ver, ¿le enseñas?
Sí.
Hola.
Sí, she just lost a tooth.
Put more.
Ven, ponte aquí. Mira. Enséñale el diente, mira. She just lost a tooth.
Wait, today?
Yes, lo has perdido. ¿Se te ha caído?
Someone's coming. Hey, don't forget to put it under your pillow.
Sí, dice que no te olvides de ponerlo debajo de la almohada para que venga el ratoncito Pérez. ¿Verdad que te vas a acordar?
Sí.
Se llama, his name is Olivier. Es mi amigo Olivier. Y tú, dile cómo te llamas.
Me llamo Erin. Y tengo 6 años. Tengo 6 años.
¿En inglés?
6 años.
Sí, my name is Erin and I'm 6 years old. My name is Erin and I am 6 years old.
¿Aquí?
Sí. ¿No, cariño?
No lo sé.
No pasa nada, mi amor. Olivier te entiende perfectamente en castellano.
Ven. Hola.
Poquito. Hola.
Micrófono, cariño, sí. She wants me to show you this.
What? I don't see. Oh, okay.
The microphone.
Okay.
Anyway,
Mic.
guys, she just made a start, the guest star appearance. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I love to see you. I missed you a lot, and we'll see each other very soon. I'm gonna cut the lead feed. Wait there because I will say you properly.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I give you the names of that shit you wanted to see. So thank you, everybody. Gracias a todo el mundo. This
Thanks to you.
for today. Olivier, you can say goodbye in any language you want.
Goodbye, au revoir, ciao. Hasta luego.
Muchas gracias a todos y mañana, tomorrow, with us, con nosotros, el grande, el señor Eduardo Riso. Muy buenas tardes y hasta mañana.